Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gantoas on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rod Gantoas.
Good afternoon, everybody, from the front lines of Orange County Talk Radio. If you are like most of us and you have heeded the warnings, you are sequestering, you are socially distancing. Do we have any new terms today for this thing? Like staying away, isolating, self-isolation. You know, we used to call this thing just... You know, I usually keep my distance from you. So it's business as usual at OC Talk Radio. I keep my distance from Paul for his benefit and for the safety of others around us. But no, seriously, you know, we used to call this thing being introverted and antisocial, didn't we? Now it's what you have to do. But I hope everybody is staying first and foremost safe, smart, being sensitive to people around you as much as you can. Remotely, and then also please don't hoard food and supplies. There's a lot of people that are in need, especially the elderly out there. I'm so glad to see some of the shopping centers, and we'll talk about it a little bit with my guest today, who is a friend of the show. It's great to see Adrienne. I can see her. You guys can't see her because we are facing some technical difficulties, which we usually do here. But what we were trying to do, just to give you guys an idea what we're trying to do, we were trying to actually do a split screen Skype feed. And we tried real hard, but there was this reverberating echo that was happening. So let me just say that Adrienne looks lovely. Thanks, Adrienne, for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And she is definitely safe. I can see she's safe.
Yes.
But please, remember that there are other people like I said, with the elderly, and I'm glad to see the grocery stores now basically doing some prioritized hours for the elderly to shop and sort of minimize the people around, since they are the most vulnerable populations as far as we know right now. Adrienne Berg is my guest today. She is, my gosh, what can I say about this woman? She is a influencer, to say the least. She is an author. She is a talk show host. She has her own podcast that I try to emulate and fail all the time. She's been doing this for so long, and I had the pleasure of meeting Adrienne. Just a little bit of background for people, Adrienne. I had the pleasure of meeting Adrienne at a thing called Transform Design. Do you remember this, Adrienne?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
And I was talking to Mary Malloy, a shout out to our friend Mary Malloy, a little while ago, about how unique and memorable an experience that was. And it was almost like a little think tank on the side of the mountain, off season, where we talked about seniors and boomers and impacts on markets. And, Mary's primarily in the hotel and hospitality industry, but it really became, for me at least, a turning point in wider thinking beyond just one industry and impact. And in great part for you, I still remember the presentation that you did there for us all. So thank you for being on the show again. You have not rested, my friend. You have a new book out. You are constantly innovating. So for those who don't know you, as I do, would you take a minute and just give people a little background about you? Because you are definitely a major innovator, influencer, as far as I am concerned, in the aging space. But your background is very diverse.
It's very diverse, but I am basically a cheerleader for successful aging. And I have been an elder law attorney before there was such a thing as an elder law attorney. And we began something called the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. Now that's old news, but it was really an innovation. It was looking at this whole area of our life, almost over 1/3 of our life, as something extremely positive, extremely wonderful, but we're very unprepared for it. And so what I've been doing, let's say in the past 10 years, is helping people prepare. Whether it's financially, whether it is legally. Now I'm dealing with something called Metabesity, which is expanding. This is very health-oriented, expanding your life, but not just expanding the number of years you have on the planet, but how healthy those years
The
are.
quality of your life.
And and I'm directing a conference called Targeting Metabesity. And this very important, just in a few days, March 27th, I'll be moderating an Eventbrite webcast on targeting metabesity and the coronavirus, because there's a tremendous connection between why older adults today are so in the line of fire when it comes to corona, and why we also decline as we age.
Well, you're talking about
so
the
it's,
thing
it's
is
a
like
wonderful webcast. Lots and lots of great minds will be speaking March 27th.
Adrienne, please, take a minute here and tell people how, and we will share this information as well. But tell people how they could possibly tune into that. Is there a place that they could go to tap into that?
Sure. I mean, there's two things. First of all, Generation Bold Radio. That's my podcast.
Yep.
Generation Bold Radio will have all the information. So all they have to do is go to generationboldradio.com, and they'll go to the link. But if they know Eventbrite, if they use Eventbrite, they can simply Google Eventbrite Metabesity. That's a new word, and you guys are going to be hearing that word a lot. META-besity. And it stands for metabolism, obviously, obesity, obviously. But it really deals with the metabolism, the immune system, and inflammation. And if we were able to channel all those and harness them, we wouldn't have a coronavirus problem.
Well, and a lot of the doctors that have been quoted recently, and that's why I was going to ask you, is does it have to do with immunity? But I think you just answered the question. That is enhanced immunity, healthy, you're less vulnerable and prone to basically be subject or threatened by something like this.
Right, and we can no longer really talk about health without talking about wealth. So let me give you an example. We are now looking at aging as a cluster of diseases. You have cancer, you have Alzheimer's, you have Parkinson's, and everything is looked at, can we cure those after we have them, right? But we're not spending our money, and we're not looking at, could we prevent them to begin with? Now, the way you prevent them is not by targeting cancer or Alzheimer's. It's by targeting inflammation, immune system, and metabolism.
So true.
So if we looked at these systems, we wouldn't have as big a pandemic. Now, what may happen, this is the lemon, becoming lemonade. It's so expensive, this pandemic, and we'll talk about the financial fallout of it.
The immediate as well as the ripple effects, of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That now maybe we'll see where the right place to put our research dollars is, so that research and science and finance kind of meet in this issue for each of us personally, as well as for our government. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see what's going on. My latest book, you mentioned the retirement income explosion. I did not expect it to come out when there's a pandemic. That I can tell you right now.
The timing, yeah.
Yup.
Yep,
no doubt.
And there's in undercover or inside the book you basically say have more, spend less, live better, and I found that very interesting. That the culmination of the three words or the three parts of that was live better, and the word better is all encompassing, including facing sort of trying to avoid facing what we're dealing with, because the viruses are going to continue to come. We're going to have morphings of different things over and over and over. So the preventive nature of and I had a big conversation a couple of days ago about this, about the fact that as much as we know that we've known for at least a decade, if not more, that we need to take an approach of preventative versus reactive when it comes to health and well-being. It's still not very much advocated for. A lot of money, to your point, dollars put towards that per se, because the reactive nature has so many other beneficiaries in it. Proactive means I don't have to seek medical assistance as much. Proactive means I am less likely and prone to falls, for example. I have stronger, I find it fascinating. You and I haven't had a chance to talk, but my father, in the last 6 months, he has suffered from a whole bunch of the stuff that we talk about, too much prescription medicine cocktail, staying on the same prescriptions over a period of time when it should have been adjusted. It fell a couple of times.
Yes.
Fell a couple of times. The irony is, for the first time in his life, He used to play baseball in high school, but first time in his life as a regular exercise regimen. My father, who's 84 years old, at the age of 83, started seeing a personal trainer twice a week. But out of
Well, that's fabulous.
right, but out of
That's wonderful.
the necessity, Adrienne, to basically help him strengthen something so he is less prone to falling or slightly maybe improve his chances from being able to function and walk and not bend over. The sad aspect of this is that you could see the benefit now with him doing this, let alone if it was been a regular part of and regimen of his well-being and health earlier in life.
Yes. Well, there's been experiments. 92. People at the age of 92 can still benefit from exercise. When my mom was 92, we got her a little 2-pounder, little pink 2-pound weight, and it was great.
Yeah.
So, but the idea of live better,
Yeah.
this is not my first rodeo. You told everybody that I've written a lot of
13
books.
books.
14 books.
14 books
14
now.
books.
Yeah.
This is the 14th book.
Amazing.
So I get it. And what I'm trying to do here is, in a very succinct way, change people's way of thinking so they change what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Change what you feel and change what you think is great. But if it doesn't result in change what you do,
Mm-hmm.
there really is no improvement. And that's what I'm hoping will come out of this pandemic. That if our governments will change what they do, if
Mm-hmm.
we as individuals change what we do, it'll be very different. And we will live better. The conference coming up about Metabesity
Mm-hmm.
in October, I hope, is interdisciplinary. And this webcast on March 27th,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to scientists, in addition to lab researchers,
Mm-hmm.
we're also having a Cynthia Stewin, who's the head of the NGO at the United Nations on
Mm-hmm.
Aging.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things we've learned is that everything is global. This is the most global thinking we've been in as individuals. Everybody in this country today knows where other countries are on the map
Mm-hmm.
because of this pandemic. We're also having a professor, Dr. Heyer, and she is in Florida, and she's lived through hurricanes and other types of group mass disasters.
Yeah.
And how have we been prepared? Now, this perhaps is going to help us be more prepared for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing that I'm hoping will trickle down to each of us as an individual. The Retirement Income Explosion book is for individuals. It's for them to get richer. It's for them to be more secure, to be healthier, and lead just a happier old age.
Well,
But
let's
maybe they'll really listen this time.
Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
Isn't it fascinating that how quickly, if we really want to, we can really coalesce. I mean, let's look at the silver lining or maybe some positive messages out of this. The reason behind this global joint effort is a bad thing.
Yes.
But how quickly we were able to mobilize, and not only mobilize, but accept that this is a joint behavior pattern that we should all get on board with. It's and it's ironic that it's because of something bad, let alone when we're not put with a gun to our heads and we don't do this.
Well, here's the problem. It's not just something bad. It's very bad. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
When I was writing the Retirement Income Explosion, what I really wanted to point out to people is that they were going to live a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very upbeat book.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise of this book is you're going to not only live a long time, but you're going to enjoy living a long time. So you might as well prepare for those years, spiritually, financially, with a life purpose, not just sitting on the sidelines, not just ageism and giving into it, but seeing what you can contribute to this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was a hard sell. People really see even themselves and their old age as being non-contributory. It's a time to pull back from the world. Now, they're forced to. People of all ages are now almost like retired people.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, retired in the sense that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Retired with not much to do,
Mhm.
just keeping themselves a little bit, busy. Retired folks, oh, I'm so busy. Yeah, but with what? Not necessarily with a big place
Mm-hmm.
in our world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now everybody feels what that feels like.
Yeah, I think the word
Because,
isolation
yeah,
probably means a heck of a lot to a lot more people after 5 days of
yes,
this, right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Isolation means a lot, having to work from home, not having work. We're beginning to see what it means if we don't have a proactive retirement.
You're so
Now
right.
imagine being told that's the way you have to live all the time. You wouldn't like it.
For a third of your life.
Yeah, yeah. So retirement income
Yeah.
explosion says you have to change your thinking about how active you're going to be physically, like your dad. You have to start it now. There's not a terribly difficult things you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Good nutrition, exercise, don't be too overweight if you can help it. Enjoy yourself, have good relationships offline and online, but have something you feel you can contribute to the universe.
Right.
And it actually the book goes through how you can think about that and come up with something that you really love to do
Mm-hmm.
and reinvent yourself at any age and how to pay for it. That's the other part of it. How to have the money to live the life you love.
So let's talk about that because I mean, how much of this book is sharing of your own journey, Adrienne? I mean, you usually put a lot of yourself in these books.
I would say that it's the journey of my generation
Okay, fair enough.
more than me personally, but I'm almost like a statistic. I say I'm a walking statistic. Almost everything my generation did as a massive group of 78 million people, I did as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got into the workforce, it was the early 70s,
Yeah,
and things were booming.
yeah.
But we all got huge jobs with very, very good salaries. And we didn't save any money.
Mm-hmm.
We got into the roaring 80s
Mm-hmm.
and the greed is good world,
Mm-hmm.
and a very small number of people put any money away.
Mm-hmm.
And they were making tons of money,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't living for their future.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as baby boomers with family members that died early, and maybe if you were 60 or 70,
Mm-hmm.
you lived that long, it was old.
Mm-hmm.
We really didn't expect to live this long. We are the first generation with the new Metabesity potential
Mm-hmm.
to live to 115, 120. Some will.
Right.
The fastest growing demographic are centenarians, and
Hmm.
it is said that our grandchildren, already alive today, will much more easily live the full lifespan, 115 to 120 years. But that came on us. We didn't expect that.
Right.
So
Didn't
we didn't
prepare
say
for
it.
it. A lot of people didn't prepare for it.
We didn't prepare.
Yeah.
So what happened? We also had a notion, a cultural notion. What does it mean to be rich? It means to be rich to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
We look at a big number. What's your number? They used to say.
Yeah.
And then some of your listeners will remember T-shirts that said, "The one that has the most when they die wins."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was all about acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
So we went all through this, and then we began to get to be of retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked around and realized maybe we can't retire. And then 2008 came around, right? And those who could retire really got a sock in the jaw, just like right now,
Absolutely.
when the same exact thing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't so much my experience. I did go through all those things, and all those things happened to me, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But I also saw that happening to millions of people.
Well, and
And
thank you for
yeah,
making the point of that we are facing a very similar situation as 2008 right now for different
sure.
reasons. But yes, I mean, the market has been very volatile even before we went into shutdown, but has been volatile for the last few weeks. You're looking at interest rates going in the minus is the
Correct.
conversation now, which I still don't understand at all. And you are looking at people that may have felt that they are getting their heads above water after 2008, and here we are getting sucked again. So let's talk about the book, Adrienne, because I think it's absolutely timely. Talk about some of the tenets of the book, like how do people ensure or increase their chances of living better, finding themselves in this situation that they find today?
Well, there's really three big points to the book, we'll say. The first one is have more, as you said. Now, how do you have more? We are not looking at that big number. It is not necessary to be a millionaire or a trillionaire. It's all good. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are rich people. But
Yep.
what you're really looking for, even rich people,
Mhm.
what you're really looking for is income. And I'm trying to switch people's thinking of success from how much money they have in the bank to how much guaranteed income they have in their pocket.
Mhm.
If you had no money at all, but somebody told you that every day you were going to get $5,000,
Mhm.
you'd be fine
Mhm.
because the cash flow is there. So the
Mhm.
first thing is you take a look, and I shepherd you through page by page. What do you have already, like Social Security, a pension?
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe you sold and you've got a contract that pays
Mhm.
money
Mhm.
all your life. I don't know. Uh, but that's actual guaranteed income. What do you have that you can turn into guaranteed income? And there are many ways of doing that. And I walk people through everything from an annuity to actually getting work at home, like many people are doing right now, to getting lifelong streams of income,
Right.
to how to use their home for lifelong streams of income. So that's what I call have more.
Right.
I don't mean have a bigger bottom line of your net worth. I mean have a bigger bottom line of your cash flow.
Mhm.
Then
Very
the
important
second part,
difference. Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's a different way of thinking because we
Right.
don't think that way.
No.
No, we want to know how. If we want to think that somebody has money, they mean one big number. This is how much is in the bank or their bank accounts or
Right.
their IRAs.
Right.
They don't think about their cash flow. And even we look at careers that way.
Mhm.
You know that most firemen and policemen actually have greater wealth than doctors and lawyers because doctors and lawyers can lose that money,
Yeah.
and our wonderful firemen and policemen have healthy pensions.
Mhm.
They can't lose.
For the time being.
Uh, for the time being. Now, also in there, we discuss what happens with Social Security, what happens with pensions, how to
Mhm.
watchdog those pensions, how to watchdog that Social Security and make the most of it. So, yes, we don't take anything for granted. But
Mhm.
that's what I mean by, or annuities. If annuities work. Annuities get bashed all the time. I don't sell annuities. I'm not a securities person. I have in my life, and I have seen people get derailed
Mhm.
by all kinds of hype
Mhm.
and failure to understand what it does for you.
Mhm.
But it really gives you cash flow.
So is income, cash flow, call it worth? Is that as different in an individual as every individual person out there, or is there some sort of a benchmark given today's minimal requirement, if you will? Do you address that?
Yes, I'll say that in two ways.
Yeah.
There is something psychologically, somehow, I don't know because I didn't do these studies, I only read them,
Okay.
that $73,000 to $78,000 a year makes people financially happy. These are psychological studies.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody has more than that,
Yeah.
it does not make them any more happy. When somebody has less than that, it makes them feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did then was make the second point in the book. So
Okay.
there's three big points. The second one is spend less.
Okay.
Now, what does that really mean? You know, there's one very famous guy, I know him well. He says, save your money, don't drink lattes because they're $4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, too bad. I have to tell you that maybe when I was 20 or 30, I would not have a latte to save money.
Mm-hmm.
But not at 72. I want my lattes. This is the time for me to have the things that I want. So instead of spending less on the things you want,
Yeah.
I go through how to spend less on the things you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And those are really big things.
So you're not
Like your
saying
house.
deny yourself. You're saying you should be smart about what you may actually want and what you don't want, and put the
Yes.
attention and your wealth and your resources towards that, which again then makes for a living better.
Well, it also makes so that you're not
Happier.
playing another man's game.
Right.
I mean, if everybody around you loves these big McMansions,
Right.
and it's really, you don't really want that.
Yeah.
But you have it because everybody around you, or you have a certain kind of car,
Right.
or you dress a certain way.
Right.
If that is really giving you joy,
So true.
great. But if it's not, why are you at this stage of your life
Right.
creating that kind of financial burden? Reduce that, and your income level will meet your needs.
And again, let's
You'll
remember.
spend on what you love.
Well, and again, an interesting nugget, my friend. You said at this point in your life, like, granted, we all may fall into the, keeping up with the Joneses, or this is the benchmark, and the trappings of how you benchmark and measure yourself, etc., in an earlier point in life. But that's supposed to be something that you work through and redefine for yourself as you get older. And yet you're right. Why would you do that? If a small cottage somewhere with a view to a stream is what is meaningful for you and what you like, then why are you looking at a multi-story in a gated community? You don't need to define yourself by other people's generic definitions of what is worthy, right?
This is so true.
Yeah.
And
very good.
but it's not so easy to stop what we've been trained to use as a standard
Yep.
of success.
Habits are very hard to break.
Very hard, and cultural habits very hard to break.
Yep.
Look, but we break them. Give you a very example today. Great example today. Why is everybody working from home? The answer is because they can. There was a time in history when there was no such thing as a computer.
Right.
And if that was the case, one of two things would have happened in this pandemic.
Right.
Either we would all still be going into the office,
Yeah.
being forced to go into the office,
Yeah.
regardless of the health risk,
Yeah.
or we'd all have no job. But today, we go and we work from home. And when we tell somebody in general that we do work from home,
Mm-hmm.
nobody says, oh, look at that failure.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time
Mm-hmm.
when the measure of the man and then the woman was a corner office. Nobody even cares about that anymore.
Was not that long ago.
It was not that long ago.
Right.
And who cares? They don't even want a corner office anymore.
Right.
I remember going to Bloomberg, because I have been in the world of finance and financial journalism for years.
Right.
And I went to the Bloomberg headquarters in New York City many times. There are no offices. For those of you who don't know, Bloomberg is one of the first to ban an individual office.
offices,
Everybody sat together.
Yep.
And still does.
Yep.
So in other words, what we measure or think of as a success
Mm-hmm.
is very cultural. And if living in Portugal, because I do include things like international living and living abroad, if getting your teeth done in Mexico, I talk about medical tourism for elective things, which you're not allowed to do right now in
Right.
the pandemic. But I talk about the smaller home. I talk about the kind of car that really suits you.
Yeah.
And looking at who you really are, not not through anybody else's eyes. So now you have spent less, and you're already living better because you have financial security.
Right.
You have the money you need coming in, and you're spending it on what you like. But the third piece, the live better,
Yeah.
is something that I think you personally really understand. I've known you, as you say. We've met, we've talked.
We've met
different
before.
Right. I will say that this you get, and that is that you're making a contribution to the world.
Thank you.
Live better is not just have more stuff.
Right.
It's not even just being financially secure.
Right.
Live better is that you can say, this is what I did for somebody today. It may seem, almost jejune or babyish or, palaver, but the fact is that at a certain age, the fact that you can make a contribution to the world is unique. I get angry, and I'm very angry, by the way, about ageism. And I say on my radio show, the world is not counting on you. Make them sorry. And what I mean is get out there and be
prove them wrong.
to the world. Yeah. Prove them wrong. Make something happen.
Right.
That's so extraordinary, whether it's in your town, in your house, around the corner. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be on the international stage.
Right.
And we walk through in that third part how you can be an extraordinary person. And you already are. You got all the tools. Now all you have to do is make the space to use them.
Well,
And that's it. That's the third part.
well, and you and I, again, thank you for spending this time with me, because again, one of the things that you and I both know from doing the podcast is some things happen, some things magical happen when you actually have an exchange with somebody, when you actually converse with people, when you actually come together, not necessarily with a predetermined outcome or a target or a goal. That you explore things together. And even in the course of this conversation, Adrienne, I mean, some of the stuff you said to me, I was looking at this as being, again, because I'm very angry as well about how we were made to transition this into this sort of isolation, self-isolation state so quickly. There was no softening to this transition, right? But
Yes.
I'm seeing another point here. I'm not less angry, by the way, for that lack of leadership. I am livid, okay, and I think the price will be paid across the whole gamut on that one as time proceeds. But you brought another point to me, which is the fact that you and I, by virtue of what we have chosen to do for so long, know the benefit and the joy of working out of the house, working in a non-conventional manner. And it's interesting because now, forced to, a lot of other people have an opportunity to see it that way. Like the benefits for your quality of life. Like that time that you are now spending with your kids that you didn't really have as an option before. That, how many people are going to come out of this and say, it's not so much that I was laid off, but I actually decided to make a change in my life because my live better now has this definition in it.
Yes. So there's a wonderful word that rarely is ever used, and that is resourcefulness. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm writing a blog. We have a blog called Aging for Beginners, so I'll give more shameless promotion. Aging for Beginners on Bottom Line and Generation Bold Radio.
Yeah.
And you have your podcast. And so what I'm doing right today, as soon as we're finished, actually, is I'm writing a blog on how to stay connected and how to help your older loved one. And I'm talking about now people in their 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Stay connected, even though you can't visit them. We just had an assisted living community here say that the children of the residents cannot come.
Yep.
So you can't have a visit and so on. How do you help them stay connected? And that's what I'm working on. So I don't like, if I can help it, social isolation. I like physical isolation with social connectivity. Sometimes words matter. So not social isolation, but physical isolation.
I will look forward to that because I'm sure, knowing you will also address this. But it also connection. Not all connections are created equal, right? And we know this from social. You have 8,000 people on LinkedIn, but how many people are you really connected to? Like the depth of connection is equal, and the quality of connection is equally important to the connection. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is an interesting. I look forward to reading that, Adrienne. Yeah, I'm dealing with that myself right now. Like I as much as I am trying to be very cautious and careful, and I keep telling people wash your hands, and I got gloves in the car. I've been wearing a scarf pretty much with one form or the other the whole week, basically for added protection, as well as a couple of masks in the car. But how do I do that? And then at some point, as much as I'm being careful, still feel comfortable to be there for my parents who are in the late 70s and early 80s and live 6 miles away.
Yeah, we just did a tiny little children's book, and it's 24 lines, and it's called Why Are Grandma and Grandpa Wearing Masks? And so one of the things that we're doing is helping little kids, really little kids, 2 and 3-year-olds, understand why maybe they're not seeing their grandparents so often right now, or if they do, they're wearing masks. But if you have older parents, and you're an adult child, and you're used to seeing them physically, there's a couple of things that you can do. First of all, very simple, call. Don't text, don't go on the computer, call. Next of all, do your best, if they're not computer literate, to go on to a software platform like CULink. CULink is an example of one. There are many of them, where you can actually do remote computing for them. As long as they have a computer, you have a computer. Even if they're not computer literate, you can do FaceTime. They can see you. You can see them. And that is a big thrill also for people who are used to seeing you physically and can't right now. And then we also have a lot of resources in the article that I'm writing, which is called Just Keep Talking, something as you can plainly say I know how to do. But the fact is that there are wonderful resources online that you can help them get involved with. I'll give you one very small example. I have a former client. I do not practice law anymore, but he's in an assisted living community. And I was worried about him. I called him. Well, he's playing golf online. And he's got buddies online. And he doesn't feel the pinch at all because he's been confined. But he's found his communities. So if the older adult is computer literate, they will find their community. If not, you don't have to see them to help them.
You know what?
It's
Just
called
go ahead.
remote computing. That's it. Remote computing. Help them.
You know what, Adrienne? I just had an idea. You know who the great life coaches are right now for what we're going through? Seniors.
Who do you think? Seniors. All right, there you go.
I'm serious. Like now I'm thinking.
Yes.
The people who have
Good
been
idea.
doing this for the last 10, 15 years, that have basically had to transition into this sort of not having this structure of having to go spend 8 hours somewhere, or even if you're working remotely, spending 8 hours on a task-oriented thing. People who have found a way to have a quality life, a sense of productive life, a purpose-driven life in that age bracket where they don't have the benefits, societal acceptable benefits of being busy. Those are people with a wealth of knowledge of how to navigate these areas.
I'll tell you, in the book, in the Retirement Income Explosion, one of the things we talk about is the ECPI. I'm going to relate that to you right now.
Okay.
That's called the Elder CPI. Most people know about the Consumer Price Index, but they don't know that there's a separate one for people who are retired.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, the Labor Department posted.
Okay.
And it's very different. It's very different. First of all, the healthcare costs are very wildly inflation. But the other thing that's a lot of inflation is transportation. It's very expensive to be older and to go anywhere. Unless you are still driving yourself.
Absolutely.
And so what have older adults decided to do? I'll tell you right now. They decided to live in a city. Most older adults, they go into the cities. You know that because you design all those places.
Absolutely.
They are becoming computer literate. The courses that everybody is filled are the computer courses.
Yes.
They are, and another thing that's happening statistically, you won't believe it, there's more letter writing than ever before. Older adults are actually writing letters.
Interesting.
So, yes, you can take a look. And, of course, in the book, I'm telling you to be aware of inflation because right now, if you go even to an advisor, they'll tell you, inflation is very low. It's not low for you if you're older because it's a different cost of living index that you have to look at. So we talk about what types of investments are inflation sensitive, which younger people don't need at the moment, but you need.
Right.
But what is it? It's transportation. So that is one of the things that older adults have really learned to get around in a million different ways. And we have the same thing. We can't go anywhere. Having fun at home is definitely something that older adults have mastered.
Right.
No doubt.
Well,
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, the ones that have done it very well, I don't happen to have that particularly in my family, but I'm just thinking outside the box, and I'm thinking there are people that their quality of life never diminished. It shifted to where the sources of joy and purpose may have changed, but the quality of life didn't change. In fact, it probably even got better as they had more time to expend towards things that were rewarding in different ways, like we were talking about, that leaving it better than you found it kind of thing, that making a positive impact that is wider than your immediate surroundings. These are these are coaches that are basically right under our nose that under normal circumstances we may not be tapping into. This particular condition that we're all dealing with globally, we have a wealth of knowledge that resides in these people.
Well, that's true. There's something called the Pass It On Network, which I belong to. That's an international group. And everybody in that group, I think, but me, is actually a life coach. That's what they are. But they're life coaches only for people between the ages of 50 and 80. And they're all over the world. In fact, the headquarters is in Paris. So what are they life coaching these people on? Not necessarily their next career, but their next contribution to the world. To find out who you are, what you love to do. It's 3 steps. What do you love to do? Does it really put you in the zone? That's, is it something you really want to sustain? And number 3, who does it help? The minute you know what you love to do helps somebody, then you structure what you love to do to be a helpful person in this world. And it doesn't matter what that is.
Adrienne, would you take a minute and talk about the Spending Less to Age in Place chapter that you have in your book?
I figured that might be one of your favorites because
I wanted to end with that because
Well, let's again take one step backwards. One of the most expensive things in everybody's life in this country, probably most countries, is their home.
Yep. Primary asset.
It's maintenance. Yeah, it's a primary asset. It's got taxes. You've got maintenance. Maybe you have a mortgage. Maybe you don't, but it's expensive.
Right.
And most people would like to age in place. And what that really means is not going into assisted living, not going into a congregate care facility.
Right.
But things are changing rapidly. Today, we have many, many places where we're actually aging in place. So first is your family home, the one that maybe you raised your kids in and so on. In order to age in place there, you really have to look around and do the kind of things that you and I were talking about at Transform Design, which is make sure your bathroom is accessible. Make sure you can take a shower. Have your food in a certain place in your kitchen that's accessible to you.
Yep.
It takes designers like you, but it also takes a mentality of independence.
Absolutely. And the desire for it, to be honest. I mean, it is, you're really, no house that I know of until recently has ever been built for people to age in. So whatever house you bought, you may very likely be facing the fact that it is not able to accommodate you as you get older. That doesn't mean that it cannot be made to do so, but you're right. It requires a spirit of independent living and the desire to prolong it as much as possible. To do that, I try to get people in on this early when their kids go to school or whatever, where they now are looking at finally putting that money in the remodel of the kitchen or remodel of the bathroom to get to kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone, to get this upgrade and modification that you're looking for. But at the same time, for very minimal, to put that 20 cents worth of plywood in the wall for a bracket, for example, or a grab bar later, so that you don't have to pull on that expensive marble that you waited 3 months to get, right? There are things that can be done at that point in time that will also prolong your ability to use that home, which would mean that you are now having an asset that continues to appreciate. Of course, we're not accounting on medical conditions that may make that impossible. But under normal circumstances with a desire for independence, these homes can be made to be modified with I don't know if you agree with me or not, but with a positive impact on your financial wealth as well, because you're not draining it to provide accommodations in a different place.
Well, I actually can tell you, something even better than that.
So go ahead.
From personal experience. So first of all, yes, you're right. If you go into assisted living, if you go into even independent living in an assisted living community, it's going to cost you more than staying home. There's no doubt. It's very, very expensive. Sometimes you have to do it. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right. But there's another good reason financially to do it. Your house will be worth more when you do go to sell it.
Thank you.
And here I'm going to give you a personal. I do have an accessible house. I have a no barrier shower. I have a Toto specialized toilet. I have grab bars on my tub, and I have grab bars in my wall. And I also have some things in the kitchen. Now, I made that 17 years ago when I have had and still have, thank heaven, no disability whatsoever.
Yep.
I did it to age in place.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I'm selling my house because I want to move where my family is.
Mm-hmm.
And people are coming in and they are perfectly healthy and they're young. And they absolutely love the accessible bathroom. They love it.
Yep.
Because it was designed so well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole thing has made my house worth more to sell it. Now, I don't know if that would have been true 17 years ago, but it's definitely true today. People love it. They're not turned off by it. They think it's great. It's great for them. I would recommend it as a financially worthwhile thing to do for anybody, even if you're not planning to age.
No, a smart financial decision to in the course of safeguarding or increasing the chances of value of your primary asset. I will add to that, because you're absolutely right, and I thank you for sharing that personally. But we do 5-star properties, and when we do 5-star properties, we've had to adhere with ADA forever. Those properties are still $500, $600 a night. They don't look medical. There are, if it's designed well, it's not even universal design; it's universal delight, regardless of age, right? And so I keep reminding people, especially if you're in a desirable location, like I live near the coastline. So if it's a desirable location, the values of the properties are high. The chances are somebody that is going to move into that area, into a smaller maybe domicile than the one they were in, but they want to be closer to the ocean. They may very well be up there in years. They may be looking to stay in there sort of almost like at their last home as a retirement home. They may even be buying it with a little bit more size to it because they want their grandkids to be in there. All the while, if your house is already designed to accommodate this universal usability and delight, that house is a differentiated product in the market. And at the end of the day, all you need is one person to buy your house. So you don't need to appeal to the mass of everybody that a real estate agent is going to bring in there. If your house is a unique offering in a market, by virtue of that, your price and value is up.
There's no doubt. And there's also part of this that has to do with the cost of care. Now, let me explain that part.
Please.
I looked through my own book today, and I was actually surprised at how many chapters I have in there on housing. Yeah. I was surprised myself. I forgot. So the income explosion is about how you invest your money, but the spend less has a lot to do with the house. So let us say you've done the universal design.
Yeah.
And you do have a decline. Perhaps you had a heart attack and you have to recover. Or maybe there is some dementia. We're talking about now in well later years.
My father, yeah.
Not only do you save the heartache of having to go to an assisted living community, although I do want to mention that it can be the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
We'll deal with that in a moment.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do it. If you have universal design.
Right.
But more importantly, for money saving, you may not need an aide. Or you may be able to bring in an aide for many fewer hours during the day.
Absolutely.
So it's not just that you don't have to move. A good universal design would be, or universal delight, like as you like to call it. It's not just that. Mm-hmm. It's also that you may be able to be independent, keep your privacy for more years, or more times during the week, and not spend money for help, because you can get into the bathroom yourself. You can cook yourself. If you have a stove that turns itself off, the safety issues go way down. If you don't have your rugs all over the place, the falls issue goes down.
No steps.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
There's a whole bunch of good fallout that you don't see right away until you really delve into it.
Adrienne, sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, but ultimately, you save money.
Well,
that's the thing.
You're right, and I didn't think about it in terms of the limit, the being able to limit the hours of care because you have more of an independent capability. The other thing too, by the way, is if you do bring in care, and I tell this to people all the time, especially in a place as litigious as California, is when you bring in care, both to the care agency as well as to yourself, if the house is not done in a manner that would accommodate a safe working environment for that caregiver,
Yes, it's
You
true.
have a potential unsafe work environment, and so it's not just like if somebody's going up the stairs and the stairs is in a sense not, but you have no other choice but to go up the stairs, and you got a caregiver behind you, and if there's nothing there for the caregiver to stabilize himself and you happen to lose your footing, you and the caregiver are now going to be on the end of the stairs. That caregiver at the very least will not be there the next day because they have injured themselves, and worse, there could be litigation that happens as a result of it, which then immediately impacts, of course, your financial health and well-being. So there I'm so happy these days. I mean, when you and I first met, nobody in California wanted to talk about this. There was no seasons. Nobody got older. No salt was put on driveways. No winter clothes, summer clothes were exchanged, right? At least now we have a little bit of that conversation. But with that being said, there's also quality, consultancy, and a well-intentioned but not really what you should be doing. You should be doing more or maybe differently. So I'm so glad to see you put that in your book. I didn't mean to make it a focus because of something that we service, but I really was happy to see it in the book, and I was very happy to see it tied into the financial well-being and income, because that's sometimes the piece that is.
And I guess I get credibility because I don't sell it, right?
Right.
But the people who do sell it, they are always criticized. Now, insurance. Most people do not know that insurance often will pay to renovate your home for the extra money for renovation.
Right.
So one of the things I try to mesh is know-how. It's great to know about design on one side and know about money on another side.
Right.
But what I'm trying to do for the individual is to bring it together so they can see how they both work together in their life.
Absolutely.
Because universal design does require renovation dollars. And they may think they don't have those dollars.
Right.
And they may be missing
or that they have
actually have it.
Or that they have to dip into their own personal savings to do that when they may have other resources available.
It's true.
Adrienne, Paul is signaling me. I think sure. Before you go though, and separate on this topic, and I mentioned to you, and I'll put it in here as well, is that we are going to be working on doing a daily Raad Life for the foreseeable future, and we're going to figure out a way to basically do this with audio for sure, audio video potentially. I will be doing it from home, but I want to bring people like yourself into this conversation. How are people dealing with this? I think it would be really great if we actually do like about 30 minutes or so in the next few days or a week or two, relevant to this particular topic, because you're absolutely right. This is one of those things that everybody, not just the homeowner, but even on my side of the spectrum, the professional, does not know that this is a viable option, and where would they go to basically make this happen or educate their customer. So would you mind if I tapped you, to come back and do that with me?
Well, it'd be my pleasure. And one of the things that we can also cover that we didn't discuss is if you want to age in place and you want your home renovated,
yeah,
what should you put in your legal papers to make sure your family does that for you? We'll leave that as the cliffhanger for the next time.
Perfect cliffhanger, my friend. I appreciate you as always. Keep doing what you're doing. I love seeing what you're up to next, and I look forward to having you again on the show really, really soon. Thanks for the book. Before you go, will you tell people where they can find the book?
The very easiest one is retirementincomeexplosion.com, and that will give you all the information you need for downloads or to buy the book, and Retirement Income Explosion. And once you do get it, then you have access to a very full website with tremendous amount of additional information.
And she's not kidding, okay? She is a wealth of knowledge. If you're not following Adrienne, I don't know what you're doing. You should be following her. You should be subscribing to everything that she says. No, I've known you long enough to know you are not only consistent, you're visionary in what you do, and you are absolutely always positive, and we need that right now more than anything. So thank you for being on the show again. And I will talk to you real soon, Adrienne. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the Raad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rod Gantoas, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges. opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.